There's probably more recap, explained, or essay-type videos on topics like this than the world ever needed, or in some cases, even vaguely wanted. So I thought, hey, what could this guy bring to the table in an already painfully oversaturated niche to spice things up just a little bit? And I know. I'll do it properly, of course, but try to not sound like I'm being held at gunpoint in the process. So, let's begin this potentially new series with the only show we can. Rick and Morty starts off with Rick, this old crazy drunk guy who is somehow the main protagonist of the show, waking up his grandson, Morty.
Talking about.
Come on, I got a surprise for you. Come on, hurry up. Gotta get out of here.
You're tugging me too hard.
This involves a flying car and a bomb, and if there was one sentence to perfectly sum up Rick and Morty, that would probably be it. We're then introduced to the rest of the family, the parents Beth and Jerry, and Morty's sister Summer. The start of the show can be summed up with this. Morty is failing school due to his wacky sci-fi antics with Rick, which puts their adventures in jeopardy as Beth and Jerry are pissed. To remedy this, Rick takes Morty on a mission for some seeds, which results in Morty brutally snapping his own legs, maiming a weird alien guy that may not have deserved it, and ultimately becoming a genius for a total of about 10 seconds to fool his parents. Thanks to this, the genius part, not Morty snapping his own legs, Rick has established dominance over the household and can continue his sci-fi adventures with the Morty throughout the first season. The family dog gets a power-up and becomes a dog dictator. Morty's teacher is confirmed to be a closeted nonce, to which we're just gonna brush over? Really? I mean, okay then. We see a theme park built inside some dude who looks like Santa, and aliens think they're him, but instead hold a huge L. Episode 5 sees these weird blue guy ripoffs show up, and a few crucial story seeds are planted in the process. Beth and Jerry's relationship is on the ropes, and Beth is facing uncertainty about her entire existence. Kinda like a midlife crisis, but on steroids.
Okay, bye.
No, stay. Go with the flow.
Stop.
What the
You're
fuck
making me
is
really
this piece of
uncomfortable.
shit?
Morty wants Rick to make a potion so Jessica, his love interest, will fall in love with him, which is not only kind of weird, my guy, but also just goes horribly wrong. This results in them having to enter the multiverse and replace another Rick and Morty in another universe. Spoiler, this will not be the last time this happens. This makes timelines, storylines, and everything, to be honest, very convoluted, and there's no way I'm explaining all that shit. I will, however, explain some things. The next episode involves Morty, a sci-fi sex doll, and an alien baby, and honestly, the less said, the better. Episode 8, 60 Minutes, introduces interdimensional cable, and it's pretty great. Family issues is yet again a central theme in this episode, so if you wanted some light-hearted, crazy adventures, unlucky I guess. Beth and Jerry use alternate reality VR goggles in which they see their alternate selves are kinda living that good life, leading to even more tension between the two. Summer packs her bags and goes to leave, but Morty stops her by showing her his and Rick's dead bodies. I don't know how this helps at all, to be honest, as it would just confirm to me I need to leave the house. But I mean, yeah, we'll go with that I guess, fair enough. Beth and Jerry reconcile in the end after seeing their alternate selves are actually kinda down bad. From VR goggles and marital problems that make me think the writers are going through it, to episode 9 being about Rick outdoing the devil and Jerry insisting Pluto is in fact a planet. Rick then humbles the devil so badly he makes me somehow feel sorry for the literal Lord of Hell, to a point where he basically calls it. Summer saves him and helps him launch a successful business. He then betrays her because he's the devil and gets his ass beat. Jerry gets taken to Pluto to share his amazing wisdom, but thanks to Morty takes back what he said in order to save Pluto from self-destructing, which leads to him getting his ass beat.
What is my purpose?
You pass butter.
Oh my god.
Close Rick counters of the Rick kind introduces many larger concepts to the show. The Citadel of Ricks, the Intergalactic Federation, and Evil Morty, one of the main background antagonists who had controlled his Rick to kill a bunch of other Ricks and set up a shield made of tortured Mortys. You are one seriously messed up kid. Seriously. The finale sees Beth and Jerry go to a Titanic replication event because of course you do that, you little bitch. Rick, with a newly free house, holds an intergalactic party and we're introduced to characters like Squanchy, Birdperson and Abradolf Linkler. Because, I mean, why not I guess. Things get pretty crazy, Morty has a mental breakdown and Rick freezes time in order to fix everything before the parents return home.
Roll credits. Just shake that ass. Roll the credits. Go. Just shake that ass. That's the end of season 1. That's the end, motherfucker.
The second season starts right where we left off, and of course this goes... They break time and space, get berated by some testicle meatball thing, and Albert Einstein Rick gets jumped by said meatball. Wait, what? They continue on their space travels, and the only real way to describe them is if you got baked out of your mind and started just chatting absolute shit with a few of your friends. Morty wants to save this world-ending fart cloud thing, their words not mine, from a Hitman bug edition, which he ends up destroying anyway as it turns out to be evil. They leave Jerry at Jerry Daycare, and when picking him back up, might have picked up the wrong one. The show just loves trying to be confusing and difficult, I swear. Rick links back up with an old girlfriend, species? I mean, I don't really know. A hive mind called Unity. Things go great, then not so great, then some weird other hive mind simp thing rocks up, it then goes horribly wrong and ends with Rick being horrendously down bad. Episode 4 is the definition of so dumb, but yet so good at the same time. A parasite infiltrates the family house and plants some fake memories into their minds in order for them to multiply and grow. We're introduced to Sleepy Gary, Tinkles the Lamb Fairy, and most ridiculously of all, a character called Mr. Poopy Butthole. I mean, just crazy.
Who the fuck is that guy?
Morty then figures the trick out, and they exterminate all the nasty little parasites.
Ooh-wee, amen to that. Now this little poopy pants is hungry. Will somebody pass me a pork chop? Is something wrong, Beth? Oh my God! Oh fuck! Oh.
Wait, but I...
Oh shit, that guy was actually real. Wait, what? A massive alien head called a cromulon appears out of nowhere and kind of abducts the entirety of Earth. Earth is then entered into a music competition in which the losing planet gets pulverized. Some people on Earth start a cult because, of course they do, and Rick and Morty win the competition with some help from the US president. Rick's flying car won't work, so he takes Morty into his car battery to fix it. In true Rick and Morty fashion, his car is powered by an entire civilization, and Rick has to put them in their place. Episode 7 sees Rick turn himself into a teenager again, which seems a little sus really, and Beth and Jerry go to space marriage counselling, as that shit is on the ropes. Rick becomes trapped inside his teenage body, crying for help, which is the most accurate thing I may have ever heard, and Jerry and Beth confirm their marriage is, yeah, not the healthiest I've ever seen. Good old just classic Rick and Morty occurs over the next 2 episodes with the return of interdimensional cable and The Purge, weird Mormon cat thing edition. The season 2 finale revolves around the wedding of Bird Person and Summer's friend Tammy. You know, from the season 1 finale, that nuts house party one. Well anyway, it turns out that Tammy is a rat and is an undercover federal agent. She claps Bird Person, starts a little battle, and stops the Smiths from returning home. The season ending with Rick getting his family to safety and then turning himself in, like the good guy he is. Kind of.
Hoo-wee, what a cliffhanger. Oh boy, oh my. That's a real crazy ending, huh?
Season 3 again starts where we left off, with Rick being interrogated by the Federation. In this, we see our first glimpse of Rick's timeline, young Beth, Rick's wife Diane, and Rick Prime, the supposed killer of Rick's wife, and our other main background antagonist. He then toys with the agent, single-handedly quick revives Szechuan sauce, a sauce made for the film Mulan, which is kind of mid by the way, and then escapes his mind control prison. Morty and Summer then go to save Rick after Morty tries his just absolute hardest to shit on him, but they get captured by the Citadel of Ricks. SEAL Team Ricks, you get it, show up at the prison to eliminate our Rick. Well, the Rick we've been watching this episode. They fail, and our guy, posing as a member of SEAL Team Ricks, infiltrates the Citadel. He then teleports the Citadel to the prison he was staying at, causing a massive battle to ensue in which he collapses the Federation by turning their currency value from a 1 to a 0. Rest in piss, weird bug things. There's also a small moment where Morty tries to kill Rick, which I mean, is a bit snaky to be honest mate, you little prick. Upon arrival back to Earth, Jerry shoots himself in the foot as he offers Beth an ultimatum. Rick or him, because, I mean, a space travelling genius versus whatever this is a difficult decision. Rick then does a little callback and says it was all part of his plan to gain power over the household once again, in which he has succeeded in. The family, bar Beth, then travel to a Mad Max type world, where Rick tries to get a precious resource, Summer gets a boyfriend, and Morty gets a huge arm in which he beats the shit out of some people and then drowns a weird little Lord Farquaad looking dude. We then have... Don't make me say it. Please don't make me say it. Please don't. In episode 3, Rick turns himself into a pickle. He's Pickle Rick. I really hate it here. Rick becomes a little pickle superhero guy due to him trying to avoid family therapy, which seems
Pickle serum.
fair. They then join a team called the Vindicators and go on a mission to save the world from a massive scary supervillain that just turns out to be Rick when he was blacked out drunk. We then have a Rick and Jerry episode where they go on an adventure to a resort that is surrounded by an immortality field so Jerry won't somehow perish. This just absolute abomination tries to kill Rick but fails miserably. And Rick takes Morty to a space spa to remove their negative energy as they've been having a rough time on their adventures recently. Nothing ever remotely normal happens in this show, however, and the negative versions of the two escape and try to corrupt the entire world. So, normal stuff. Episode 7 sees Rick and Morty go on an adventure to Atlantis, and we get to check back in with the Citadel. We see an older Morty police officer just going about his day, a Morty take on Stand By Me, and evil Morty continuing his work behind the scenes with him being elected the new Citadel president. Episode 8, Morty's Mind Blowers, is all about Morty seeing moments in his past that Rick has erased, which is, yeah, both entertaining and a little scary at the same time. We then have a brief look into what Beth's childhood consisted of, with a look at her hellish fairy tale world called Fruipyland.
I think the word you're looking for are. Ah! Holy fuck! Shit! This thing has claws!
Yeah, I get it. It's a childproof world.
No, seriously! This hurts really bad! This thing is sinking razor-sharp claws in. Ah! Shit!
You've made your point, Dad. Dad?
Oh nice, yeah, it's pretty messed up. There's some weird cannibalism, bestiality, incest shit going on, and honestly, I wish I'd never seen this, I can't lie. After this, Rick then offers Beth the chance to go and live her life how she wants, and will leave a clone in her place behind. The show carrying on its theme of being mysterious and kind of annoyingly cryptic, we don't know what she decided to do. Season 3's finale sees Rick beefing hard with the president, which results in the rest of the family hiding from him. During this time, Beth loses her mind completely over not knowing if she's real or not, which pushes her back to Jerry. Rick then finds the family and settles his war with the president, acting as fly fishing Rick from another universe. Unlike the first 2 seasons, Season 3 ends with Rick unhappy, having lost all of his power over the family. I mean, imagine losing to this guy, honestly. It's embarrassing. I'd be sad too.
Ooh-wee! What a season! Sorry I never showed up, but I got married, I had a baby, I went back to school, I got my GED. What did you do while you were waiting? Hopefully you didn't just fuck around and waste your life.
Season 4 actually doesn't continue where we left off. Crazy, I know. This entire season really, until the end, follows this sort of idea. There's no real storyline advancements or overarching developments. It's more just them doing some goofy shit. Rick experiences what is probably best described as literal hell, where he dies over and over again, each time waking up as a clone in a different reality. This would obviously suck, but factor in each reality seems to be filled with Nazis everywhere, hell sums it up pretty well. While all this has been happening, Morty secretly has a crystal where he can see all of his possible future death scenarios. There's one with him and Jessica, and he turns into a kind of psionic supervillain trying to make that reality come true. Even funnier is, in the post-credits scene, it turns out Jessica was a carer and was just looking after an old Morty all along. There's an episode with the main focus being an alien using Rick's personal toilet, in which we see him kind of develop a bit as a character. Episode 3 is a mock of heisty type films, with Rick creating a robot called Heistatron. It's basically an episode where the show goes full meta and just makes fun of platforms like Netflix and how copy and pasted these films are. And yeah, they might have a point there. Episode 4, Claw and Hoarder, is probably best left, to be honest. If you wanted a quick second summary, it's basically if you took those girls on Twitter who promote their OnlyFans page literally everywhere and replace them with dragons and wizards. Yeah, best left alone, I'd say. From an episode that haunts my nightmares literally to 2 of my on-the-low favourite episodes. Rattlestar Rick Lactica is half Jerry actually fighting for his life, and half Rick and Morty basically enlightening a planet of snakes. Episode 6, again a very meta episode, is all about the story train and a guy called Storylord. And I'm not saying that marijuana must have been involved here, but it was. There's talk about Jesus, the fifth wall, and in the end it turns out to be just an advert for an epic train set. Episodes about facehuggers called Glorzos that try to take over Earth, a fake vat of acid in which Morty unknowingly exterminates hundreds of other Mortys, and Rick continues the theme of having very, very questionable partners, this time a literal planet. Gotta respect the man for spitting game on a whole ass world though. I mean, how's he even managed that? This season's finale sees Space Beth finding a device implanted in her neck, which would be a crazy revelation if not 15 seconds later we see the normal Beth has one too. This rat then returns and tries to abduct the Beths, they escape, get mad at Rick for the whole clone situation, and then Tammy returns again and imprisons them on her ship. Rick then murks Tammy, the Beths escape, Bird Person returns, but in Bird Terminator form, being dubbed Phoenix Person. He beats the absolute shit out of Rick and is then shut down by Space Beth. Rick finally learns the truth, but no one really cares anymore, which is good as the memory Rick was relying on shows him swapping the Beths over and over until he no longer knew which was which. You kind of suck, dude, I can't lie. The season again ending in quite a depressing manner, with Rick failing to fix Bird Person and the family having fun without him. Season 5 is probably the most disliked season, and yeah, I can kinda see why. It's a really weird mix, as the first 3 episodes are peak Rick and Morty, with the first probably being one of, if not my favourite episode. It involves Rick beefing with his nemesis Mr. Nimbus, the kind of sus king of the ocean, and Morty entering a weird dog, billy goat version of Narnia to retrieve some of that good wine in an attempt to win over Jessica. Rick continues his recent trend of just getting his shit absolutely rocked, and Morty enters into a generational war with the goat alien dudes. This results in Jessica becoming kind of god, I think? Something like that. And it's heavily implied that Mr. Nimbus sleeps with Beth and Jerry, because this man has really not suffered enough already apparently. Episode 2, Mortiplicity, sees alien squid assassins kill the whole family, which turns out to be not the real family but instead decoys. This sparks a whole crazy chain of events, with a bunch of decoy families getting killed, the decoys figuring out the squid dudes are actually just further decoys, and I'm already sick and tired of saying the word decoys. The next presumably real family are hiding but get caught and harvested for their skin, which is actually really messed up. Absolute mayhem occurs and the decoys are all eliminated. The end of the episode sees the real family just chilling out with Space Beth. A Rick convenient Mort is again 2 stories playing out simultaneously. Morty gets a new super girlfriend called Planetina, who turns out to be just absolutely insane, and Rick and Summer go to some end of the world parties. Bro's taste in partners is wild. From 3 really good episodes to 2 just not so great episodes, episode 4 is another the less said the better situation. It involves Morty being nasty, a sperm monster, and a giant incest baby. And honestly, I've already probably said way too much for this one.
Silence in the presence of me. I am the sperm queen.
Episode 5 is a take on Hellraiser and the Cenobites, some pain equals pleasure BDSM freak demon things. Summer and Morty, in the family's absence, take the car out for a spin to impress some guy named Bruce Chutback. Is that racist? Why does that sound kind of racist to me? And the car goes rogue, getting into a fight with some Transformers from Wish. Episode 6 is one of my least favourite episodes, as it's not as inherently just awful as the incest episode and the sexy dragons episode, but it's just not very good. It's an episode based solely on turkeys, and if that doesn't say why it's not that good, I don't know what will, to be honest. Rick and Morty then does its own take on the Power Rangers in the form of Gotron ferrets. Summer replaces Morty as Rick's sidekick, and they go about saving the universe. It goes great, it then goes terribly, and it ends with the giant incest baby making a return to save the day. And why? What kind of message are you trying to send here? Please, no one get any ideas from this. I don't know why you would, but please don't. Episode 8 is about Rick's past and Bird Person, and again it's kind of just meh in my opinion. Rick enters his mind, in which we see Bird Person and Tammy have a daughter, which just seems fundamentally wrong. Other versions of the two then hunt them down and they escape. Bird Person is revived, but he's not very happy as Rick didn't tell him he had a child, which seems like an appropriate response. Rick and Morty's relationship is really on the ropes at this point, as Morty is always covering for Rick and Rick thinks Morty is disposable to him. Morty, during all this, spills portal fluid on his hand, in which he sees a guy called Nick who has the exact same problem as him. The two become friends and Morty breaks him out of the psychiatric prison he's being kept in, because, I mean why not at this point? Nick is in fact a psychopath, shock horror, and Morty has to put him down in a pretty cold manner to be fair to him. He then returns home where Rick repairs his arm and gives him the news he's been replaced by 2 crows. The season finale, Rick Moriah Jack, starts with Rick abandoning his life with the crows and meeting back up with Morty in the Citadel. There, the two are captured by evil President Morty, and he explains he's been using Rick's brain scans to find a way to escape something called the Central Finite Curve, which is essentially the close of multiverse ruled by Rick that we've been watching for the last 5 seasons. We see a bit more backstory involving the death of our Ricks, Diane and young Beth, the invention of the portal gun, and the creation of the curve. Evil Morty this whole time has been seeking to destroy the curve, so he hacks all the portal guns, blows up the Citadel, and then escapes through a yellow portal to an unknown location. Spooky stuff.
Ooh-wee, evil Morty. That was quite a scheme.
If season 5 is the most disliked season, season 6 is a return to the normal standard, and it starts where we left off. Space Beth swoops by the remains of the Citadel to save Rick and Morty, and Rick attempts to fix his portal gun. In doing so, he sends everyone who has travelled via the gun back to their original dimensions. Morty gets sent back to the Cronenberg world, the one where he tried to brainwash Jessica into liking him, and the one where he inadvertently got his original Beth and Summer killed. Again bro, you kinda suck. Jerry swaps places with the Jerry from daycare from season 2 episode 2. I told you the show just kind of messes with us for reasons. And Rick returns to his original universe where Diane and Beth were killed. Rick saves Morty and wants to go after Rick Prime, but Morty convinces him to save the family instead, which they do. In yet another massive FU, upon arriving back home, an alien called Mr. Frundles is released and forces the family to replace a family in yet another different dimension. The post-credits scene sees Rick Prime putting an end to Cronenberg Jerry. The second episode is a Rick and Morty take on a futuristic Die Hard where Summer does a Die Hard and Rick and Morty turn into a sort of off-brand Wreck-It Ralph. We then have yet another episode that is just best left ignored. It's about Jerry being horrendously down bad again and the Beths having an affair, which I don't really know what law that's breaking, but it's got to be breaking at least 3. Night Family is an episode based on Rick using a device called the Somnambulator to create night versions of the family to do the tasks that they can't really be bothered to do themselves. And no surprise to anybody, it goes just absolutely terribly. The Night Family starts getting annoyed, mainly at Rick for not rinsing his dishes, and start to take over. They succeed by building a giant version of the Somnambulator and enslaves the whole family. Night Jerry helps the family escape. A crazy battle breaks out, with the key fundamentals being to either wake each other up or put each other to sleep in order to win the battle. It's all coming to an end when Night Summer offers a truce, Rick refusing, with him getting overtaken by Night Rick, and after all of this, the Night Family just destroys the Somnambulator, returning everything back to normal. Episode 5 sees Jerry in the limelight after eating a very, very unfortunate fortune cookie.
You will have sex with your mother.
The episode is all about this, and yeah, it's pretty good. Jurassic Mort sees enlightened and godlike dinosaurs returning to Earth. They peacefully take over and turn Earth into a really nice place to live, which in the show's most accurate depiction somehow upsets a bunch of people. The president asks Rick to get rid of them, and after some Sherlock Holmes level investigation, figures out every planet the dinosaurs have visited gets hit by some murdering sentient asteroids. With this information, the dinosaurs leave and go to Mars to just get absolutely obliterated. Rick goes to them and tells them to just destroy the asteroid, which they do. As thanks, they mend the rift made by evil Morty. Rick returns home and fixes his portal gun, with crazy interdimensional adventures back on the table. Episode 7, Full Meta Jack Rick, is a very meta episode if you couldn't tell from that title, where we see the return of Storylord, and honestly, I'm not mad at it. They definitely break the fourth wall a bunch and talk about being meta a lot, but I kinda dig it. They get baited by Storylord into the meta thanks to a little bug dude called Previous Leon and get stuck there. They capture Leon and take him to the Self-Referential Six, a group of meta heroes, kinda like the Avengers but if you spelt it wrong and found some weird knockoff versions. Rick's plan was to use a captured supervillain called Brett Conn to escape back to reality, but it goes bad and they have to escape. They get saved, return to the real world and seek to the end of Storylord.
What is my purpose?
To wait until I tell you to pull the lever.
You are fucking kidding me.
Episode 8, I Analyze Piss. No, not me literally, the episode's called I Analyze Piss. Is about a villain called Pissmaster. This master of piss per se gets into a fight with Jerry and it goes viral online. Jerry goes on to be a kind of celebrity while Pissmaster sees a weirdly sad demise, blaming Jerry. Rick takes over the piss mantle and performs some good deeds to redeem the villain's name. Jerry being Jerry messes this all up. Rick then says he was Pissmaster all along to make Jerry not feel bad, but tells Morty the truth. Morty then tells the rest of the family and both Jerry and Rick getting heat for it. Episode 9 is some space medieval business with the Knighthood of the Sun. He joins, regrets his decisions immediately, war breaks out and they bring back the good old classic of faking their death in a vat of acid. Season 6's finale is all about the setup for Season 7, with Rick and Morty agreeing to hunt down Rick Prime. Morty nearly destroys Earth with a lightsaber and we get the quick introduction and death of Rickbot. And that is it. For now.
Ooh-wee, what a season, huh? Rick Prime Therapy and that thing we did with Roy. Remember that?
Well, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you have a great week, and remember, if you're going through some shit, nothing bad lasts forever, and nothing really matters, so just be happy. In a bit.
Morty!
Rick? Where are you?
I'm in Fortnite, Morty. I'm cranky 90s, Morty. I'm cranking fucking 90s.